Welcome to my show. A guest here. His name is Shawn Bradbury. Mr. Shawn, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Thank you very much. And also, thanks so much for the time and the opportunity, Mr. Shawn. Firstly, you are a coach and you also help a lot of middle-aged single dads and men who are out there today. Can you please, Mr. Shawn, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, Mr. Shawn?
Yeah, I would love to. Yes, thank you once again for this opportunity. So I'm 57. My growth came much later in life, probably around 50, when things really started to change for me. So I really started to look at my life, take inventory of who I was and where I wanted to be. And I knew that a lot of things in my life had to change. I was very much a people pleaser. I was very much didn't have any boundaries. And I was in this constant perpetual cycle of not going anywhere. So it kind of hit me as a hard stop one morning that I'm like, I have to reevaluate where I'm at. I need to really take inventory and see what needs to change. And a lot needed to change. And that was part of the process of my growth. So in becoming a life coach, because I always loved to help people. I always loved to share information. I love these kind of meaningful conversations. They're very important to me. And so, in essence, I serve the person that I used to be, meaning that I empower middle-aged single fathers. So that's kind of how I came to be where I'm at currently.
And that is very beautiful. In life, we learn a lot. And when we learn at that point, we have to try our best to use those things we learn to develop ourselves. And if we have the opportunity, which is what you are doing, to also make every single person out there to be aware so they can also groom and become more stronger with what they are brought to. And also, I would like to dive to a book, Mr. Sean. Do you think you are planning to write any book, or have you written anyone? Or do you plan, from the experience you've had, you're planning to write any book in the coming future, Mr. Sean?
I've never written a book, but I have thought about it. I do have this definitely personal stories in my life. I think they may be more like short books, more like an ebook or thing, but there's a bunch of personal experiences I had that I think are very relevant, can be really helpful to men, especially finding manhood and how I perceived it growing up. And the way I perceived it kind of really hindered my growth. So I think there's definitely topics that I definitely would love to tackle and share with the world.
That's very, very beautiful. And thank you so much for the insights. I would like to dive to a point whereby we call ourselves man or dad. And in this life that we find ourselves, it is not easy for men and even for people, for men and for dad who are doing a lot of things today because there are a lot of pressures, there are a lot of responsibilities, and there are a lot of things we need to sacrifice. And even as men, we have to be more careful with what we have to do and what we have to check on. And that is why I would like to go to the point where men carry ideas about what it means to be a good dad, someone who is caring and loving. But before
Mm.
being a dad, you are a man, you're someone who goes everywhere, sometimes party, as a man it's just like enjoyable, but when someone become a dad, it's changed, every single thing changes. And what do you think is one of the biggest misconception about men that you think about, that think it is about valuing their values and their identity, Mr. Sean?
No, I love that. I think, you know, you're right. Becoming a parent, I'm a single dad, by the way.
Oh.
And unfortunately, her mom passed away 5 years ago. So I'm literally the parent. So I'm actually playing dual roles, if you will. So that it just adds a layer of expectation to it. So, but to answer your question, like to start with, prior to being a dad, being a man and everything, like a lot of it comes with, I think, just the high surface level, like what's my job? What is my role as a man in society? And then the more I grew and learned more about myself, I recognized more of the value I had in me. And it was way beyond just being a dad and a provider. It was more about being a presence and a role model
Mm.
and really modeling to be the best version of me, like and setting healthy boundaries and prioritizing myself, looking at my core values, really I had to stop neglecting myself as a people pleaser, really evaluate where I was coming from. Because at the time, I wasn't looking back at it, was not a role model for relationships, especially intimate relationships. And I realized that now looking back, and I knew things that had to change. So I think a lot of it just comes down to the real value and identity of a person is really knowing just who you are and being able to really authentically show up as that person.
Firstly, my heart goes to your lovely wife, and that is the beauty of life. At times, we have to face a lot of triumphs, and that brings the sense of sacrifices we have to make, because these sacrifices are what we have to do. Because there are some position we are in life. Sometimes we have no choice than to just give the sacrifices, and also try our best to bring out the strength in us, and try our best to make sure that we should be more aware with what we do. And we have to play a sense of role modeling, because someone playing two roles, being probably the mother and the father, doing all the roles, do a lot of sacrifice and do a lot of things to also help the kids to grow and also become someone more productive in the society. And that is why a lot of men believe that sacrifice equals strength. Because as a man, no matter how we want to do, probably if we're in a relationship or if we have kids, we have to leave go of some sacrifices. There are some things we have to let go. There are some things that we have to try our best to reduce or try our best to just leave and move on, because now we're grooming to a stage in life. So, how do you think they can start to recognize that this sacrifice that they're trying to make has crossed from the experience you've had into
Mhm.
self neglecting themselves as a person, Mr. Sean?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there is some sacrifice to be had, and regardless if I was a father or not, the sacrifices to be had, the things need to get done. But when you do so much for everything, you leave nothing for yourself, that's neglect. That there's no self-love there. I mean, you can sure have a chip on your shoulder that you do all of these things for everybody, and that you're there for that you do everything and say yes to everything. Like once again, I call myself a recovering people pleaser because I said yes to everything. But the issue with that is, I'll use the adage, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So it's fine to give, 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 but you got to pour back into that cup for you. I mean, you got to realize that you matter too. And not to mention, once again, it goes back to your role modeling it for your daughter too. You're showing that by if I'm giving myself some self-care and self-love, they see that as well, and they'd be more apt to provide that for themselves too, and not always feel that they just have to give, 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 that they have to give to themselves first. That's kind of where my whole turning point was, is give to myself first.
Thank you so much for the insight, Mr. Sean. Sometimes in life, we have to think about ourselves. It is good because in the life we find ourselves, we have a lot of things happening in our world due to the rise in technology. So we should try our best as humans to also check on ourselves, see how we can also help ourselves so that we'll be able to help others the more. So we have to check ourselves and know the pain points. We should know the area we know that we are getting to a position whereby we are trying to neglect ourselves. We're trying to say yes to everything, and it is not going to help us in a very huge way, and it is not going to be good for us at all. So we have to check things as men, because I have to be honest with you, it is men that usually fall into this kind of situation, because there are some men in life, it's not all, that usually just have this kind of kindness, probably due to the partner, you are a person they do not have, or due to the kids that they are grooming, they just want to feel like they are insane to show the sense of love and kindness with people. But we have to also know boundaries. Boundaries is very important. We have to know when we should check on ourselves, and also check on ourselves and be more self in ourselves, to check on how we could build ourselves to become more better. And that is why I would like to dive to people who are facing difficulties. A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
are facing tough times, difficulties as a man or as a dad, because it is not easy. As I usually say, it is not easy to actually take care of kids, be with kids, and do a lot of things to build a family. It is not easy, because the main source is the father. And that is why I would like to dive to men who are facing difficult challenges,
Mm-hmm.
whether fathers or men. What do you think from the experience you've had? You said by when you were 50 was when you had this issue that you feel like you need to have some changes in your life. So, what do you think are the first step that you think can help men rebuild their confidence and sense self, Mr. Sean?
I think if you start to take inventory of what's going on in your life, if you feel unhappy about something, your circumstances, or whatever it may be, you really need just to take an inventory of what's going on. And once you take that inventory of what's working, what's not working, you got to remember that nothing changes overnight. Now, we would love a quick fix. We would all love a quick fix. We have to pop a pill and say, I'm not going to anxiety tomorrow. That would be great. But you got to start small. You can't overwhelm yourself or nothing will get done. It's like, I'm going to work at the gym and you hit the gym hard 7 days a week for 2 hours at a time, right? What's going to happen? You're going to piddle out because it was just too much, right? So you got to start keeping promises to yourself, momentum to, and just need to build the confidence because change is not easy, first of all. You can't just go from an old paradigm and habits and think you're going to be a different person tomorrow. It just doesn't work that way. So it's literally acknowledging what's going on and just really taking the small steps towards working just to the next one and just being comfortable that the process is going to be slow, but just stick with the process.
It is a gradual process. It is a gradual process. It can't just come in completely at once. It is a gradual process. It could take months. It could
Yeah.
also take years, but we have to understand one thing. We have to start from the root. We have to start from little. The little it is, then we start to develop and groom ourselves from those positions. We can to continue to grow and grow and grow. And as women, it is not easy. It is tough, but we have to try from start from the downside, then build it on and on and on until we get to a point whereby we are getting more stronger and we're healing from those kind of difficulties or those kind of challenges, because it is just a part of life, whether we like it or not. Those challenges will come, those difficulties will usually come, and we have to know how to work on it as men as well. So thank you so much, Mr. Sean, for the beautiful insight. And there is one thing we lack today in our time currently: community, coming
Mm.
together. During that time, I wasn't during that time, but with what I've heard from people who are had a lot of experiences during those time, there were men who come together. There were people who come together, share their experiences, go out for outing and things like that, which gives this sense of healing and also strength in them because they know that people really care about them. So there's this sense of love and kindness. But now we are lacking many of that now. And that's why I would like to dive to the point of men who do not have this strong support system. How do you think, Mr. Sean, from the experience you've had, they can begin to build a real community and brotherhood, even if they feel very isolated, Mr. Sean?
Yeah. I love that question because I've actually gone through that and that point in my life where I knew things had to change. During the evaluation, I realized I wasn't having good conversations. I wasn't having meaningful conversations, and I wasn't around the people that I wanted to be around, even though I didn't know who they were. A lot of my good friends that we can have these deep conversations with, they've moved away and they have family. So there's things where the things that you had past just aren't as accessible to you as they used to be. So what I had to do was I had to go out and I actually had to find things. And I joined a coaching school that a friend of mine had started. Um, he knew that I was in a coaching element, and that came out of the blue. It's almost like I asked the universe for it, and it's like it fell in my lap. And then from there, it wasn't enough. It was like every 3 weeks. And then it kind of fell apart because life happens. We think things change. So I needed to go out and I needed to find something. I needed to find something else because I found what I needed and what felt good to me, but I needed more of it. So I went out and I found another community through through the coaching community. And from there, when you really connect with your tribe and you really find people you can resonate with, there is such a sense of fulfillment and freedom and authenticity that can be found in yourself. And so I think, just to answer your question, it's just a matter of being willing to go outside your comfort zone to find places to try, to try maybe it's volunteering, maybe
Yeah,
it's a class, something along those lines where you check online, maybe on this group, just to see what's going to happen.
yeah,
And don't have too high expectations either. Just go in kind of with, this is what I'm looking for. And if it's good fit, that's it. And if it's not, that's okay. Check it off the list and we could just move forward. But that's helped me, like I said, looking at what I needed and then just kind of going out in the world and seeing what's available and what can I be of.
totally agree with you, Mr. Sean. We have to just go out. No matter how little it is, no matter how isolated the social media and the technology has brought us into, we could also use it to reach out to people and also do a lot of things to get connection and to know more people and gain the sense of community. Because whether we like, there will definitely be community, and most especially, as you said, I love what you said, volunteering, getting out, volunteering, and just doing it, just coming out. It really
Mm.
helps a lot with us because it's not easy to be, isolated in a very huge way. Difficulties, triumphs, ups and down, and we feel alone again. It's not easy. We have to come out. We have to bring it out. We have to show the sense. When we do that, we realize something. The body starts to release and release and release. And that is what we want for ourselves as men. And I would like to also dive to the point of the truth because whether I like it or not, as women, there will always be truth because the truth is always going to be there. And could have one in mind that you would like to say to the listeners, Mr. Sean. If you could leave men listening currently right now with one truth about masculinity and identity that could change
Mm.
how they live tomorrow, what do you think that thing would be, Mr. Sean?
Well, I think with masculinity, I think one of the things, a truth that I found that touching into your vulnerability is a strength. It's no weakness. And a lot of times we've grown up thinking that being vulnerable is a sign of weakness. But it's not. That's where the true connection is found. And I have found that in my own experience in being in a community that I've found that is safe enough to be vulnerable so that, there's trust that needs to be built. And there has to be a bit of uncomfort. There has to be a bit of discomfort as far as you need to have the courage to try something new. You need to have the courage to speak your truth and, to see if it's reciprocated or not. You need to figure out and put yourself in a safe place in order to be authentic and have the courage to be authentic. Because I really believe courage equals authenticity. Because to be authentic, you need a lot of courage nowadays because of the judgment and everything that comes along with society. To be able to walk into a room and be your authentic self takes a lot of courage. Some people it comes a little easier to, but I think that's just something else of putting yourself in many uncomfortable situations until you become comfortable. Um, and that becomes the new norm for you. So I would think courage and vulnerability would probably be two of the highest things I could say to that.
Hmm. To be a real man, it is not easy. One can just be a boy and just go around and stuff like that. But to be a real man, it is really tough. And that is the perfect truth we have to understand. We have to know how to be ourselves. We have to know how to say the truth. We have to come out positively. And it is really tough in our time currently. So, as women, we have to be aware and also try our best to do one or two things that can help us grow and become more better, no matter the triumphs, ups and downs we find ourselves. Because I have to be honest, to be a good man and a man who is more productive in society, it is 100% tough, tough than anything. And that is how strong and how we could grow as we are. And that's what we do, and that's what we can do to make the world a better place. So that the next generation who are coming will enjoy it better and they will say, yes, these are the people. Because we do know people who have gone during that time too, that we do know that we are enjoying what they fought for. And that is what we want to be remembered for as well. Because we are not here for life as well, we are definitely going to live one day. So I also like to dive to a question I normally ask during the end of the show, Mr. Sean. From
Yeah.
our forefathers, from our ancestors, there are a lot of things that do exist during our ancestral time that is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, Mr. Sean, what do you think that thing would be, Mr. Sean?
I think maybe respect for everybody, respect for people, respect for how people live and allow people to live lives. I think we really gotten away from that. I think it's a lot of we judge too quickly and too easily. And instead of embracing other people and cultures and everything, I think there's too much separation. I think we need to remember that we all come from the same place and we just need to embrace each other.
Definitely. There is nothing to take away from us. No matter the background we find ourselves, no matter the kind of culture we find ourselves, we have to respect that culture or respect that kind of person he or she has found himself. And that is very important in our time currently because we are really lacking it. We see someone from someone else and we, lack respect. We just need to respect no matter how they do their thing, no matter because during my own time in my own culture, yeah, when we see an elderly person, a man prostrates, a lady kneel down. All those kind of things I was with it, but it's not really relevant again because all those things are now fading away due to what we are seeing around us today. Respect is very important. No matter the background we find ourselves, whether this person is from this country or this country, we should respect them with what they have on ground. If we can do
Yeah.
that, the world is going to be in a better place because we'll not be in a position whereby we'll say, is this? Okay, no, it can't come because it's this. We couldn't, you can't categorize every single person as the same. No matter how the culture is, or no matter how the damaging the background has done to the society, there will surely be good ones in that society or that community. And that is why we need to respect. Thank you so much for that insight. And I also, from the bottom of my heart, as a man who is doing this to the community, is very, very special. And I also want to thank you for the time and the opportunity you've given to me today to discuss on this topic. Thank you so much, Mr. Sean.
Well, thank you again for this platform and everything that you do. I've listened to other of your recordings too, and I'm truly impressed by what you put out to the world. So thank you so much. I truly appreciate you having me today.
All right. Have a wonderful day, Mr. Sean. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.